for getting pneumonia, and for some, it turned fatal. Doctors have named the disease COVID-19. When they tried to trace its origin, they found a likely source, the food market in Wuhan. In no time, the virus had spread across the globe. The first case of coronavirus in Kenya was confirmed on 12th March 2020. In response to the rise of more cases, the government introduced measures and directives to reduce the spread of the coronavirus. We are now below the 5% positivity rate recommended by the World Health Organization for reopening. COVID-19 is preventable. Protect yourself, your family, and the community. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners. The procedure of reporting assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority is simplified in the following easy steps. Step 1. Write an email to holders at ufaa.go.ke to request your profile to be created. Step 2. A link will be sent to the email provided for activation of the account. Step 3. Click on the link to activate the profile and change the password immediately. Step 4. For subsequent access, use the link provided here. In case of forgotten password, use Forgot Password link to create a new one. Step 5. After login, click on Assets to submit records, and if the client has subsidiary, you can create more users and manage users. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
Well, happy MASHUJAA Day to you, wherever you're watching us from. This is Channel 1 News Hour on a day when 210 people have been fitted on MASHUJAA Day, and of that, 31 of them are sports journalists. Now, this is an interesting fact. One of them is our very own KBC's Elena Shiveka. She is one of the persons who has been a trailblazer when it comes to sports journalism. Today, being among the 210 Kenyans who have been fitted on this MASHUJAA Day. Once again, welcome to Channel 1 News Hour. Let's focus on what's also coming up in the highlights.
This is a constitutional moment. President Uhuru Kenyatta rallies for an inclusive nation as he leads the country in marking the 57th MASHUJAA Day celebrations in Kisii. Ready for the rollout. Huduma number card development concluded, awaits nod from Parliament. And the scary data. 43 coronavirus patients in various ICUs fighting for their lives as the country reports another 571 new cases from 3,963 samples tested.
Well, welcome back. My name is Catherine Achieng'a. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Lucy Mwaura. Let's now focus on the stories that have been making headlines today. We begin with what transpired earlier in Kisii, where President Uhuru Kenyatta has called for a constitutional consensus that accommodates all communities and entrenches equity and national unity. The head of state said the country is staring at a constitutional moment, warning against rigidity that breeds negative and divisive politics. Speaking at the Gusii Stadium in Kisii County when he led the nation in marking this year's MASHUJAA Day, President Kenyatta said he advocates for a constitutional consensus that will secure the country's democratic credentials without ripping apart the diversity of the Kenyan nation. Kevin Washira starts off tonight's coverage with that story.
The president urged Kenyans to weave a constitutional consensus around a three-pronged national question that addresses political inclusion, equity in distribution of opportunities and resources, as well as the contestation and violence that occur every electoral cycle. The head of state said the quest to liberate Kenya was fueled by the desire to drive away hunger, ignorance, disease and unemployment away from Kenyans, and that unless the economy is sustainably expanding to accommodate the youths graduating every year, they are being robbed of their future.
And the national question goes back to the advent of our multi-party system. For indeed, it was after the reintroduction of political pluralism in 1992 that negative politics began to dominate our national arena.
The president warned that premature campaigns and endless electioneering that create anxiety deny the country an environment where enterprise can thrive by continuously attracting capital, warning that unless the constitution is changed now, the problems bedeviling the nation will plague this country for years.
The cardinal principle must always be our unity in diversity.
We will have a robust national conversation that will bring everybody on board.
President Kenyatta at the same time paid glowing tribute to past and current national heroes for their contribution to national development, and while heaping praises for the liberation heroes, the president said the country must not forget its young people, but celebrate them, also citing a series of transformative programs and projects, including the nationwide airborne geophysical survey that are being undertaken by a team of 800 Kenyan youth, saying the country's young people have talent.
We should not give my suggestion the parochial interpretation of creating positions for individuals.
Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
And now the Building Bridges Initiative debate dominated Tuesday's MASHUJAA Day celebrations, with a section of leaders piling pressure to have the report made public. The leaders said the report should bring on board everyone to ensure the country realizes the much desired unity.
Speaking during MASHUJAA Day celebrations in Gusii Stadium, ODM leader Raila Odinga said the Building Bridges initiative process is now set to resume after a break following the COVID-19 pandemic. Odinga said the final report is now with President Uhuru Kenyatta and will be released under the guidance of the head of state. The opposition leader urged Kenyans to embrace the constitution review process that will set Kenya on a prosperous path.
From here, Your Excellency, the BBA train moved to Kakamega Ingo, then to Mombasa, then to Kitui, then to Narok, then to Garissa, then to Meru. It was only when we were supposed to be going to Nakuru, shetani ikanguka kutoka huku juu. Rege ikaenda kwa half time.
On his part, Kisii Governor James Ongwae said BBI will bring a new dawn of inclusivity and national unity, even as he called on Kenyans to support the BBI report.
Your Excellency, we also thank you and the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga for the handshake as it heralded a new dawn of inclusivity and tolerance in Kenyan political landscape.
And Kajiado Governor Joseph Olelenku rallied Kajiado leaders to support the BBI report once it is unveiled. In Narok County, the leaders urged the government to ensure the BBI report addresses the needs of Kenyans and made available for all Kenyans to make an informed decision.
So tunataka kuambia wale architects wa BBI, tafadhali, just make sure the document covers all the issues ya Wakenya na especially sisi hapa Narok. Hiyo document ikitoka tutakuja kuketi chini tuweze kuangalia ni nini iko hapo ndani.
Maneno ya BBI ikifika na waomba kama watu wa Kirinyaga, kama wewe ni mkulima ama mwanabiashara, hiyo BBI ndio itatukomboa sisi. Ndio mwaka unaokuja hatutakuwa tunaogopa ni nani atakuwa kiongozi wa nchi, kwa sababu kila mtu atakuwa ameangaliwa kulingana na needs zile ambazo wako nazo.
While in Garissa, Area Governor Ali Korane rallied for the support of the report yet to be made public, claiming already the county assembly was ready to endorse it.
BBI, Mheshimiwa Rais akitangaza, tutakuwa nyuma yake na tutahakikisha ya kwamba imefaulu tukishirikiana na viongozi wetu ambao wako kwa assembly na wale wengine wako kwa bunge wale wazuri, na tutahakikisha ya kwamba imefaulu.
Beatrice Gatonyenge-Tich, Channel 1 News.
And now the government has completed the development of Huduma number cards, paving way for the official rollout of the cards. President Uhuru Kenyatta, First Lady Margaret Kenyatta, and 10 other Kenyans became the first to receive a sample of the cards during the MASHUJAA Day celebrations. Safina Achieng'a with details of the sample Huduma cards.
It is at the tail end of the MASHUJAA Day celebrations that Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i would give a status update on the development of Huduma number cards.
Now, on behalf of my colleagues in the Interministerial Committee, to report on this historic day that the process is now complete and we have actually developed the Huduma number.
He would then proceed to invite the Attorney General Paul Kihara to issue sample cards to the head of state and the First Lady. 10
Laban Uhuru Siro, tumlete kwa haraka.
Other Kenyans present at the event also received the sample cards. President Uhuru Kenyatta pointed out that the cards were developed locally and would be instrumental in enabling Kenyans access government services.
Sisi kama serikali tuko tayari kuanza sasa kupatia Wakenya kadi zao za huduma, na ndio waweze kupata hizo huduma zao either online kwa njia rahisi.
The details on the sample Huduma number cards include a photograph, full name, ID card number, sex, place of birth, place and date of issue, county, sub-county, location and sub-location. It also has security features, including a chip and a barcode. Matiang'i says the cards will be issued to Kenyans once the National Assembly finalizes the vetting and approval of a data commissioner. President Uhuru Kenyatta last week nominated former IEBC Commissioner Immaculate Kasait as the first data commissioner. For Channel 1 News, I'm Safina Achieng'a.
And now the mood of the 57th MASHUJAA Day celebrations was not dampened despite the strict COVID-19 health protocols. Kisii residents poured onto the streets to catch a glimpse of the national leaders as they snacked into Gusii Stadium for the national fete. This year's event was a departure from the norm as only invited guests could gain access into the stadium. Achieng'a Simon with the details of the national celebrations coming at a time when the globe is facing a pandemic.
Unprecedented times call for unprecedented actions. Amid the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, organizers of this year's MASHUJAA Day were forced to think out of the box and ensure inclusivity in line with the health guidelines. They had to find innovative ways that would ensure the event goes on, but in strict adherence with the set health protocols, one of which is needed to avoid crowding. The historic event that is a continuation of the Jubilee administration promise to hold national events away from the capital was an invite only. About 3,000 guests invited to sit at Gusii Stadium were joined by President Uhuru Kenyatta and other high-ranking government officials. But even then, the seats were spread to allow for social distancing. To access the venue, one would need an invite card and a face mask. The same applied for the alternative venue at the Kisii Golf Club that was to host about 8,000 people. However, only about 1/3 of those invited at the Kisii Sports Club showed up. Interestingly, the locals lined up along the streets, perhaps hoping the leaders would spare a few moments for a roadside greeting.
Hii mavazi, hii nguo ilitengenezewa Tanzania. Babangu alikuwa anafanya biashara hapa Kisii Town. Wakati mzee hayati Kenyatta alitembelea hapa, alienda akazungumza na Rais Kenyatta na Rais Nyerere wa Tanzania. Hizi nguo zikatengenezwa, namba yenyewe siwezi jua ni ngapi. Tukaletewa, babangu akaletewa hapa na semeji yake. Sasa babangu ni marehemu na hiyo semeji yangu miaka imezidi. Sasa huyu semeji yangu ndio nguo akaniambia, na wewe utaendelea utabeba hii nguo huo kifaa kuonyesha serikali ilikuja kwa kumwaga damu.
Achieng'a Simon reporting for Channel 1 News from Kisii County.
Now, those were events in Kisii County, but across the country there were also celebrations, and we begin in Mandera, where the residents have been asked to help the government in fighting organized crime. Speaking during the MASHUJAA Day celebrations, Mandera County Commissioner Onesmus Kiatha cautioned the youth against crossing over to Somalia to join the Al-Shabaab militia, saying the government will crack the whip on such elements. This and more stories from the MASHUJAA Day celebrations across the counties.
Kiatha said the region was facing several challenges, including terror threats, drought and COVID-19 pandemic, and locals should not be lured to join the Al-Shabaab militia, warning that the government is prepared and has enough security personnel to deter such activities. Area Governor Ali Roba, who was present, cautioned politicians against inciting Kenyans to violence.
Hiyo hafla kuwapigia nduru ama kufanya balaa ingine hatutaki. Kenya ni nchi demokrasia, mtu yoyote anaweza kuja kupiga siasa yake hapa.
Pesa vikosi vya usalama katika sehemu yetu ya Mandera kila mahali tumeongezea hivi, wamejaa.
Meanwhile, Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho has urged residents of Mombasa to step up and adhere to COVID-19 containment protocols so as to curb the spread of the disease.
The entire republic, if you want us to do well on COVID-19, please just wear your mask.
While Wajir Governor Mohammed Abdi Mohammed challenged leaders and government employees to work diligently and live up to the name MASHUJAA in providing services to the public.
Sisi wote tunatakikana tuwe mashujaa, tulinde uhuru wetu, tulinde maslahi ya watu yetu, na tupeleke Kenya mbele.
In Kajiado, the late former Interior Ministers George Saitoti and Joseph Nkaiseri were recognized as community heroes. Also fated were former Paramount Chiefs. Famous Maasai spiritual leaders alias Oloiboni were awarded with Lifetime Achievement Awards for the first time. Elsewhere in Busia, Governor Sospita Ojamong urged residents to maintain peace and unity irrespective of tribe and political affiliations. He at the same time called on residents to adhere to COVID-19 containment measures.
Naomba tu viongozi ambao wako tukiwa tumepatiwa mradi tukubaliane na serikali na tuendelee.
In Uasin Gishu area, County Commissioner Stephen Kihara has issued a stern warning to those flouting Ministry of Health regulations to fight the coronavirus pandemic, saying that they will be met by the wrath of the law. Kihara said the number of COVID-19 deaths being reported in the county have increased to a worrying level.
Lazima tuhakikishe tunafuata kulingana na protocol zile za serikali.
While Nairobi County was all calm with minimal activity at the Central Business District, the bustle and hustle traffic synonymous with the city was missing, with a few business premises open. Finally, political leaders in Kiambu have been urged to embrace unity and sobriety and to avoid politics of hatred. Speaking in Dumberi Stadium, Kiambu Governor James Nyoro said the time for politicking is gone and there is need for the region to unite and embrace development. Kiambu Assembly Speaker Stephen Disho said Kenyans should desist from the charged politics.
Hatuna nafasi imeisha, hatuna wakati. So where we are now, we'll be working very, very closely kwa sababu there are a number of motions and policy papers that we are looking at in order to move us to the next level.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wamburu.
And now the number of patients suffering from COVID-19 currently admitted at the intensive care unit in various hospitals has increased to 43 from 39 on Monday. This comes on a day when the country recorded 571 new cases. Those in oxygen support also increased from 39 to 41, with the Ministry of Health indicating that the number of those undergoing treatment at various facilities has also gone up from 1,084 Monday to 1,059.
The country on Tuesday registered 571 new confirmed coronavirus cases from a sample size of 3,963 in the last 24 hours, indicating a 14% positivity rate and taking the country's caseload to 45,647. The Ministry of Health also revealed 43 people are admitted in ICU at various facilities fighting for their lives, an increase of 4 people, while 41 are under oxygen, up from 39 announced on Monday. In the latest figures, 1,059 patients are admitted at various hospitals, with 2,562 others receiving treatment under the home-based isolation and care program. For the first time, Uasin Gishu and Nairobi County led with the largest chunk of cases with 116, Mombasa second with 74, Kiambu 50, Laikipia 43, Kericho 41, Kisumu 23, Nakuru 21, Busia 16, Trans Nzoia 10, Kajiado 9, Nandi 8, Moranga, Kilifi and Kirinyaga 5 cases each, West Pokot and Kakamega 4 cases each, Isiolo and Siaya 3, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kisii, Embu, Vihiga and Bungoma 2 cases each, while Kwale, Nyeri, Samburu, Machakos and Turkana recorded single cases. The Health Ministry also announced 438 new recoveries. 373 were under the home-based care system, while 65 were discharged from various hospitals. Kenya's coronavirus death toll also rose to 842 after 3 more patients succumbed to the disease. For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Bade.
Indeed, disturbing statistics there are coming from the Ministry of Health, which obviously shows that there is a lot more that needs to be done among Kenyans, and mostly the threat is within the community. So that is a discussion that will be coming up after this short break. Safina Achieng'a will be engaging the former Nyumba Kumi chairperson, Joseph Kaguthi, who will give insights on how really can the community come together in order to fight the COVID-19 disease. But that interview is after this short break.
It was New Year's Eve 2019 when health officials in China admitted they had a problem. The rapidly growing number of people were developing a dry cough and fever before getting pneumonia, and for some, it turned fatal. Doctors have named the disease COVID-19. When they tried to trace its origin, they found a likely source, the food market in Wuhan. In no time, the virus had spread across the globe. The first case of coronavirus in Kenya was confirmed on 12th March 2020. In response to the rise of more cases, the government introduced measures and directives to reduce the spread of the coronavirus. We are now below the 5% positivity rate recommended by the World Health Organization for reopening. COVID-19 is preventable. Protect yourself, your family, and the community. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners. Next on...
It's the worst case scenario now. That I have little time left to live, that I go off slowly one day at a time?
We happen to be the new owners, and we're not going to sell you anything at that price.
Oh, good luck finding anyone that offers a better price. Nobody's going to buy your crop for that amount.
Fabiola is not pregnant?
No.
Does Ramon know about this?
Yes, I told him a while ago. What they tell us is different from what happens in here. So just get used to the possibility you'll be staying here for a while.
What would I do without you? I'll never leave your side.
You need to get me out of here, or I'll ask them to bring my son.
Roxana, you know we're working on getting you out.
Why do we need to keep her asleep?
The doctor wants to give her a wider margin for recovery.
Follow her car.
Hey, what are you doing here?
In love with Ramon.
The procedure of reporting assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority is simplified in the following easy steps. Step 1. Write an email to holders at ufaa.go.ke to request your profile to be created. Step 2. A link will be sent to the email provided for activation of the account. Step 3. Click on the link to activate the profile and change the password immediately. Step 4. For subsequent access, use the link provided here. In case of forgotten password, use Forgot Password link to create a new one. Step 5. After login, click on Assets to submit records, and if the client has subsidiary, you can create more users and manage users. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite. Tonight on KBC Channel 1, the CAF Confederations Cup Jamboree is back with a bang. Live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1.
Now it's breaking back, and what a goal! Superb by Sakin.
On Tuesday, 20th October 2020, Egyptian side Pyramid FC battled it out with Guinean club Horoya in the second semi-final encounter.
See it to take. It is dangerous, and it's in. And that's the game for Horoya we were talking about.
Enjoy the extravaganza live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Welcome back. If you're joining us, you're watching Channel 1 News Hour. Now, the Ministry of Health is pointing out that the war against COVID is now squarely within the communities. So what really can communities do to be able to fight this particular disease? What are some of the strategies that communities can adopt? Well, our reporter Safin Achieng'a had a sit down with the former Nyumba Kumi chairperson Joseph Kaguthi and share some insights on strategies that communities can adopt in the continued fight against the pandemic. Here is the interview.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, the man I'm about to have a conversation with has served this country in various capacities. As a provincial commissioner, he has also played a role as the national coordinator for NACADA, but most importantly, he has served as the chairperson of the Nyumba Kumi initiative, and that is why we are here to understand how the Nyumba Kumi initiative can play a role to avert the spread of COVID-19, especially at a time when concern has been raised about the community spread. I'm talking about none other than Joseph Kaguthi. Thank you so much, sir, for creating time for us. Now, we just want to understand at this particular time when, the global cases of coronavirus have surpassed 40 million. In our country, over 44,000 people have been diagnosed with COVID-19. What do you read from the trajectory of the curve, the positive cases of COVID-19 that keep rising each and every day? What do you read from this pattern?
This is an individual kind of war. Everybody is being called to protect themselves. You cannot be helped by the minister, the government, the police, or anybody. It is every citizen on their own. Remember, the law is a bit lenient on 3 categories of citizens: the minor, watoto, the drunkard, mlevi, and mwenda wazimu, because their capacity is low. The rest, if you and I, or you who is viewing me, you are not among the three, shauri yako. You need to protect yourself. Nana, in the estate when it came, we saw where we are staying, there were some seats in certain places. We said they all be removed because we do not know who was sitting on that seat. Then we introduced this to the gates in the estate, in our Nyumba Kumi kind of set. This one I must keep in my pocket wherever I am. If I touch something which I am not so sure, the first thing, just sanitize. It is so important that it is me and the COVID-19. The virus does not have any discriminative adjective. It attacks the big, the small, it attacks everybody.
If you read from the community and its culture, what do you think is the weakest links that could lead to such a surge in the positive cases of COVID-19?
Our weakness as a country, people not taking care of one another, the vigilance with one another. Nyumba Kumi, by the time he left Nyumba Kumi at the end of 2018, we had over 300,000 clusters, households, or they could also be professions like the Juakali. Everybody was taking care of the other, and they had a structure. So if you are in a cluster called Nyumba Kumi, this is the time you come in. If you find somebody is being careless, this is the time you don't say shauri yako. You remember what the security mantra has been, which we promoted very, very much? You see, say. You hear, say. You suspect, say. If you see that carelessness in a matatu, in a township, in a village, that people do not seem to take care, please shout and advise them. Tell the community leaders that, hi, we go to protect ourselves. You only need one person to come from village A to village B and is careless, start spreading it. If you see one alcoholic joint where the management does not take care, personally, I would recommend the police, don't bother about these drunk people. Just arrest the manager, handcuff the manager, take him to court for endangering the citizens, so that the manager and the staff, because they are themselves not drunk, they now start taking of those people without good capacity. In the next 5 years, this is our commitment to the Kenyan people. This is Jubilee Manifesto. Because this is the one which they are implementing. In the next 5 years, you read the one I have. In the next 5 years,
enhance community participation in security through strengthening the Nyumba Kumi initiative and the 290 sub-county peace and security committees.
Precisely. In the next 5 years, security will be through enhancement of the citizen participation in security. So what we are saying is read this, shout it, and let everybody know that is the way to go, and then the responsibility is put to the sub-county security and intelligence committees.
When the government lifted some of the restrictions that were placed to avert the spread of COVID-19, they placed a huge responsibility on leaders to help in making sure that the general public was safe. They were observing the protocols that were issued by the Ministry of Health, but still we're experiencing a spike. From where you sit, what do you think these leaders can do? The local administration, who should do what to enhance, the safety measures?
Take responsibility. If the citizen we are appealing does not get what we are saying, you are the chief, the assistant chief. You're the police officer. you're the politician, the MCA. Don't wait until you get that it must be Ministry of Health. Take a leadership position. We have a bit of a problem because our nationhood, nationhood, is a bit low. We like it blaming, isn't it? Passing the buck, saying don't pass the buck anymore. If you as a leader see some mistake is being made and people are going to be destroyed and you don't tell them, you are responsible for those deaths. But if you tell them and they don't listen, it is their shouty, they carry the blame. See, say, hear, say, suspect, say. That's the Nyumba Kumi mantra.
All right. So let's talk about, there are talks that with the rising numbers of COVID-19, the spike in the new cases, the government may reintroduce the restrictive measures that were placed earlier on. What's your take on this? The lockdown, the school closure, what's your take on this?
If the data from that emergency committee states that unless you do the following, it will escalate. Tell them to do it yesterday, quickly. Anything that stops from escalation. You know, I saw some videos of people crying on the streets, crying. Nobody is going to get them. So, however painful it is, tell the government, the emergency, you are empowered to take care of us. And have no fear or qualms. The decision you are taking is to reduce the casualty level and damage. Don't hesitate to do it. We'll succeed.
We will.
Yes, and with your help as media, because there is nothing that I have seen better like the way the media has been campaigning, and like I saw the analysis now on the tele, and what we are doing now. This is it. This is how we save the country. So it is everybody's responsibility.
In the war against COVID-19, everyone is a soldier, everyone is a leader. It will take individual responsibility if we are to win the war against this pandemic. Those are the words of Mr. Joseph Kaguthi. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, it is now in your hands. Save yourself, save your neighbor, save your community, save your country.
Safina Achieng'a, of course, engaging the former chairperson of Nyumba Kumi, Joseph Kaguthi, and obviously coming out that the war is now squarely within the community, and it is your individual responsibility to adhere to the protective measures by the Ministry of Health. Now we move to other news where controversy over the fate of Mercy Kalondo Wambua's LSK CEO deepened, with Law Society of Kenya President Nelson Havi maintaining she was unanimously removed by the council. Havi says in his statement alleging her removal was blocked by 9 council members is misleading. More details in the news briefs.
Leadership wrangles continue to rock the Law Society of Kenya over the tenure of the society's CEO, Mercy Wambua. LSK President Nelson Havi, through his Twitter handle, maintains her removal was unanimous as 4 council members gave a written decision while 5 others supported her removal verbally. Meanwhile, in Kilifi, Mijikenda elders kicked off a funds drive to raise 10 million shillings to build a resource center in honor of the late Mekatilili Wamenza. They launched an M-Pesa pay bill number to raise an initial 1 million to buy and fence off the land she is believed to have ignited the independence struggle in 2013.
Site ilikuwa imeanza kuuzwa na wale ambao ni wamiliki wa hapa. So hiyo ikatushtua sana kwa sababu labda ingeingia mikononi mwa watu ambao hawana uzoefu ama hawana ufahamu kuhusu hii site.
And as Kenyans marked MASHUJAA Day, Ndambu Merengi, an alleged surviving Mau Mau general from Tigania West Sub-County in Meru County, is a bitter man. He says successive governments have failed to honor his efforts.
Kwa na njara mguu ilikuwa mnapikwa huko mtoni anyambeni. Na hakuna kitu inapata. Kana sasa miaka za tebo nilikuwa hapa. Kwa mguu hapa. Na hakuna kitu inaona.
It was a similar script in Murang'a County. The family of former senior chief Njiri Wakaranja alleged neglect by the state despite a move by the late chief to vacate his parliamentary seat for the founding president. Finally, a middle-aged man was lynched by a mob over alleged bestiality. The man is said to have been found in the act by a passerby at Mavoko area in Mwingi town at around 4 a.m.
Kumi usiku nimepigiwa simu, kuna jamaa amepatikana kwa mboma ya Choma Zone, mboma ya ng'ombe, na alikuwa anasemekana alikuwa na nia ya kufanya usherati na ng'ombe.
Caroline Kamau reporting for Channel 1 News Hour.
And now to some sporting action, where former soccer giants Shabana FC are this year's MASHUJAA Cup winners after humbling AFC Leopards on a solitary goal in an entertaining match played at the Gusii Stadium. Fred Nyaundi scored the lone goal to hand the Kisii-based side the win. And now Football Kenya Federation has announced the departure of Harambee Stars tactician Francis Kimanzi and part of his backroom staff by mutual consent. The Federation says Kimanzi has left his position alongside assistant coach Zedekiah Otieno and goalkeeper trainer Lawrence Webo. Kimanzi was appointed Harambee Stars head coach in August 2019, replacing Sebastian Migne, who was axed. At the same time, Kimanzi was Migne's assistant, penning a 2-year deal to take charge at the helm. Kimanzi's exit came just days after leading Stars to a 2-1 win over Zambia's Chipolopolo in an international friendly tie played at Nyayo National Stadium. And now several local drivers are taking advantage of the COVID-19 pandemic period to conform with the 2021 World Rally Championship Safari Rally standards. We will be getting to that in just a bit, but let's now move forward, where defender Connor Cody says Wolves' win at Leeds United, which moved them into 6th in the Premier League, was a massive result. Meanwhile, West Brom and Burnley played out their first goalless draw in the Premier League this season, with both teams still searching for a first win.
Wolves were well on top by the time Jimenez took the ball across field from the right flank after 70 minutes before checking inside to shoot from the edge of the box. Elsewhere, West Brom and Burnley played out the first goalless draw in the Premier League this season, with both teams still searching for a first win. Filip Krovinovic almost gave host West Brom the lead inside 3 minutes, but he dragged a shot wide of the right post before the result means Burnley have their first point, but they remain in the bottom 3 after 4 games, with promoted West Brom ahead by 1 point.
And now back to the story on the Safari Rally Championships, where several local drivers are taking advantage of the COVID-19 pandemic period to conform with the 2021 World Rally Championship Safari Rally standards. One of them is former KNRC Division 1 S-Class and 2 Wheels driver champion Jasmet Chana, who recently fitted an AFI-approved safety fuel tank. Paraplegic driver Nikhil Sachania was among the first Kenyan drivers to do so as part of a grant from FIA Disability and Accessibility Commission. Jasmet has already kick-started his preparations and hopes to tackle next year's WRC Safari Rally alongside his elder brother Ravi Chana in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution X. The 2021 WRC Safari is slated for June 24th to the 27th. Jasmine makes up the elite group of Kenyan drivers categorized in the KNRC Premier Class. He is currently lying third in the Kenya National Rally Championship behind leader Baldev Chaga and Carl Flash Tundo. And now Harry Maguire, Edison Cavani and Mason Greenwood are among 5 Manchester United players not to have travelled for the Champions League opener against Paris Saint-Germain tonight. For this and more, here is a look at the Champions League fixtures. Very well, it's time for us to wrap up Channel 1 News Hour. Of course, Channel 1 is your true sports partner, so we continue to celebrate Elina Shiveka, who has been instrumental in making Channel 1 your true sports partner, today honored by the government among the 210 Shujas who were fitted, very instrumental in driving women in sports journalism. And on that note, remember tonight we are also continuing with the CAF Confederation Cup, and tonight Pyramids versus Horaya are playing in just a bit. But from me and the entire team, happy MASHUJAA Day. You remain our Shujaa. Thank you, Kenya, for watching. My name is Achieng'a. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Lucy Mwaura. So we end the show at this point, but of course we have the weather report coming up next. So stay tuned for that.
A very good evening to you wherever you're watching us from, and a very happy MASHUJAA Day. I hope you celebrated this day and remembered your heroes who mean a lot to you. My name is Yusufar. Let us now move from Madaraka Day to matters weather. Now, residents of the northwestern, western, central and parts of eastern region expect a rainfall tonight. 13 degrees Celsius makes Kericho the coldest tonight. So for Kericho residents, remember to keep warm. Let us now see how our morning in Wednesday looks like. And Muyale Marsabit residents expect sunny intervals. Kitale and Eldoret will have rains accompanied by sunny intervals. For residents of the coastal region, the longest sunshine in the morning. In the afternoon, for residents of the northeastern region, expect sunny intervals accompanied by showers. For residents of the coastal region, again in the afternoon, sunny intervals continue to dominate. Kericho, Kisumu, Kitale, Eldoret and its environs will be experiencing showers accompanied by thunderstorms. Looking at the temperatures now, Mandera highs of 37, lows of 26. Garissa highs of 36, lows of 23 rather, and here in Nairobi highs of 25, lows of 15. On that note, I complete the local weather forecast. I leave you now with the international weather forecast. I'll be seeing you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, do have yourself a lovely night.